Hello, lovelies. Welcome to the Jaden Show this Sunday. I've got another wonderful person in store to introduce to you today. His name is Lester J. He's from the United States of America. He's a singer, songwriter, actor, producer, and he's super, super lovely. You're going to meet him in a little while, but I think we should go and check out a little bit of his music. This is called Love Like Mine. a tune. You're going to meet the boy in a minute. Don't worry, don't panic, but we're going to go for a quick Jaden Show commercial break. Hey guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about the Jaden Show commercial break starting now. This is amazing news because now every single week you have a couple of minutes to be able to advertise something you want to advertise. So if you have a business, if you have an event coming up, if you have a new album, art gallery, or anything you want to particularly advertise on a show, this is your chance to do it. March and April 2024, the advertisements are free, so please let me know. Get in touch to me on Jaden Cornelious at AOL.com. It will be wonderful to hear from you. If you are a charity or a charitable organization or a non-profit and you are advertising something with regards to that, then always your advertising is free. So let me know. You will need to send me between a 1 and 2 minute video around that time, if possible, something that you want to advertise, and I will fit it into this spot. Get on. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Are you ready? Are you ready to meet this week's fantabulous guest? I know I am. Let's go and meet the incredible Lester J, the Jaden Show's special guest. The amazing Lester J. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good. Welcome to the Jaden Show and welcome to Mexico as well. Mate, we've just heard Love Like Mine. What a voice, dude.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it's more than a pleasure. It's my pleasure, believe me. So how did this voice start, quite frankly? That's what I want to know. Let's go back to like little Lester.
Yeah.
What's going on in kind of your home environment? What music were you listening to? Because I'm sure your voice has been you got so many flavors in that voice that, you can say there's a bit of Luther, some of all my favorite artists in Mr. LJ. So how did it all start for you?
Thank you so much for that. So I kind of started really early. I'm a preacher's kid. So my father was a preacher. My mom was a choir mistress. So we had to do something in the church. We were heavily church influenced. At 5 years old, I started singing in the choir. I got my first solo, This Little Light of Mine.
I'm gonna love it.
In the church choir. And, I just kind of stuck with it. Forcibly at first, right?
Okay,
my mom was like, we got to do something, in the church. My little brother ushered and I, sung in the children's choir. Probably around high school is when I started singing kind of secular music. I bumped across a friend who was doing it heavily, and he just kind of introduced me to open mics and things like that. So I started doing those kind of things in high school. Also, what's it LimeWire? Those kind of pirating apps
Yeah.
back in that time. Um, I started downloading beats from LimeWire probably in like freshman year, maybe eighth grade, and write music to it. So that's when I kind of started writing lyrics to the beats. And I want to say maybe my sophomore year in high school, I ran across this kind of local label called Ill Entertainment in Maywood, Illinois. It was headed by, funny enough, a local cop who, had all these kind of local hip hop folks in his basement. He had a studio in the basement. So I would go there right after, and it was right down the street from my high school. So I would just, go right there after school, and usually I'd be the first one. And then as the day wound down, everybody else kind of foiled in, and it was quite an experience. At the top of the month, the in-house producer would like have a bunch of beats, and folks, you had to be present for the beat selection, and you picked
Okay.
the best one. So you had to make sure that you were there to get like the beat that you wanted. It was almost kind of like a listening party for beats, and it's like, who wants this beat, that kind of thing. So you kind of had to fight for it. You had access to the studio all the time in this cop's basement. So that
I don't
is
think anyone else has a story like yours, mate.
Ill Entertainment. I wish it was still around, but that was high school, and then around going into college, I say I really want to keep staying in the entertainment field. So I went to Columbia College Chicago, which is a performing arts college, and I studied a plethora of things before I settled on music, vocal performance, jazz studies, and minor for acting for the stage. But when I walked in, I thought I wanted to be a musical theater student. So
Okay.
I did first year doing like acting classes and movement for the stage and those kind of things. Um, I think it was the dance classes that got me out of that major. They wanted me to get these dance shoes, which look like kind of like ballet shoes, and
Nice.
I wear a size 16, 17.
Oh my God, mate.
So I needed to order these shoes, and I'm just
Like
like, I'm
four stitched together.
like, I'm not doing this. So I switched majors there and ended up, like I said, with the vocal jazz studies major with the acting. I didn't want to get rid of all those good acting classes that I had already taken. So did that. Gosh, and a plethora of things since then. Um, Donald Lawrence, I've done his showcase a few times at the Gospel Artist. He was a resident uh, faculty at Columbia College. Columbia College, for those who are not familiar with that particular college in Chicago, they usually staff working artists. So if you're, into painting, those your professors are likely painters in the industry. Music, those are working musicians, actors, etc., etc.
Wow. Okay. Nice, mate. So you're learning from people that are that live in their craft.
That's right. That's
Nice.
exactly right.
Nice.
So one of the classes I took was Donald Lawrence, who's a stellar award-winning gospel artist nationwide, and I've done his showcase twice. Universal Circus, which is touring like a circus, like but kind of black centered.
Hmm.
Uh, I've done that and a plethora of things since college. Ended up getting into the wedding industry. So, like I said, most of my professors were working musicians. I had a piano instructor by the name of Donald Neal who really loved my voice, and he was in a working band that was looking for like a soul singer in the band to do the Motown stuff.
Okay.
My last year of college, they hired me to the band. So that was my first band out of college.
So you've always been in it, like
Always been music.
from nothingness.
Yeah. I've always loved, especially when I started getting into secular music. I've always loved um, I've had a guilty pleasure since my younger years for
Go
pop
on,
music.
share it. Come on, mate.
It's for pop, like pop music, like Britney
Oh,
Spears.
you the man.
Like that's the guilty pleasure
Ain't no
stuff.
shame. It's okay.
I got a funny story with that. So, obviously grew up in gospel music, and my mom loved R&B and Motown, so that really served me well
So in
later.
your household, it wasn't just like kind of Christian themed music. It wasn't just gospel. You were listening. You had secular music. Well, you had regular music going on at the time as well, right? Oh,
Yeah,
that was
so
lucky then. Okay, that was cool.
traditional Motown kind of stuff. My mom loved Al Green. I actually do an Al Green dedication
I
now, which
read.
I to, and that's based off of us going down south and her playing Al Green for 8 hour that 8 hour drive from Illinois to Arkansas because that's where my mom is from.
Right.
Um, but
So Al
yeah,
Green was kind of like imprinted in your brain at that point. Then.
Al Green, Stevie Wonder,
Right.
and Otis Redding were her top three that she would play all the time, incessantly in these car rides. But Al Green is the top
Right.
because he's
For
in the
this.
same town that she's from.
Okay.
Forest City, Arkansas. He was born in that town, and that's where my mom's from. So if you
Right.
drive into town, there's a big sign that says almost soul singer Al Green.
Oh, sweet mate.
But no pop music.
Okay.
I got into pop in probably like eighth grade going into high school, and I'll never forget this story. So Britney Spears had a HBO special called the Onyx Tour, and I found like a VHS tape somewhere, and I recorded it off of HBO. Now HBO back in the day, they they used to have pretty free and explicit kind of content,
Okay.
the channel. So the Onyx Tour was a little racy for a Christian, you know, 16, 15-year-old guy. So my parents found the tape and they recorded a Christian special over it because it was really racy. I don't know if you ever saw Britney Spears'
I
Onyx
didn't,
Tour
but I
back
was a
in
big. I was kind of doing pop R&B in London. Like I was signed to BMG in the
uh,
'90s when kind of Brittany. So I was kind of doing the same kind of stuff, and I never saw that tour though. So
um so the tour was hosted by a drag queen, right? So in between songs and scenes and sets, you had this kind of like very flamboyant guy hosting and being very kind of, big and boisterous. There was a scene where she's doing "The Touch of My Hand," I think was the name of the song, and there's scenes where she's is on the bed in lingerie with a guy, and then on the right is two girls on the bed doing their thing, and then there's two guys on the left doing their thing. So, very, very racy for, like I said, a guy with a pastor for a father, and
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah. It wasn't a Winans music video. Let's just say that.
So yeah, they recorded over it, but I'll never forget that. That was
Did they mention it to you? Did you have to have that conversation?
they kind of just did it, and then when I asked her, I did ask like, who recorded over this, and it was just kind of like, you shouldn't have been watching this kind of stuff in the first place. But I don't know why you would be, recording this kind of thing. So I got reprimanded once I asked about like who taped over
Okay.
my concert. But it only got worse from there. Like I started buying the Janet Jackson Velvet Rope
Oh
tour.
my god, the best album.
And although, so I followed Janet Jackson, heavy Michael Jackson. I did have Luther Vandross, which was okay. Usher's tour, 8701 tour. I just started collecting DVD. Beyonce, I became a Beyonce stan once she, went solo. And I got her Wembley tour, which was the very first like DVD release that she did, and just kind of built my catalog from there. So I love pop music. It's a guilty
Dang,
pleasure
we've had to
because
live.
it was a guilty pleasure for me because I was told it was wrong right from
Well,
the
no,
beginning.
I was in the church. I was in Pentecostal assembly back when I was younger, and I remember. So I loved. I mean, and I still love. Like I still sing tracks by the Winans, and I still kind of BB and CC, and I still sing Amy
Yeah.
Grant songs, and I still kind of. I love that the music. It had such an amazing, incredible energy. But I remember because I'm a lot older than you. I remember I was listening to Rhythm Nation came out, Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, and that was just, there was nothing like it at the time.
Game changer.
Oh man, it was completely. And I remember that was my guilty pleasure. And I was ministering, so I was actually 17 years old, 16, 17, 18, one of those ages. And I was actually going all the evangelical Baptist and Pentecostal assemblies in London and kind of part of England, singing every Sunday. So that was kind of my ministry. I was only tiny. And but I sneaked in, and I remember washing up and I was listening to Miss You Much. That was my favourite song. So I'm listening to Miss You Much, I'm washing up, and I'm washing this glass, and as I'm watching this glass, a saucepan fell off the draining board and it crushed into my hand and cut through my tendons in my thumb. And I was like, that was God, because I was listening to Janet Jackson. That's my penance now. And for years, I really believed that was my punishment for listening to Janet. Now,
that's what they teach you. They teach you, like, if something wrong happens because you did something that you
mate, it's real kind of
all the time.
Mate, I'm sure he would have loved Miss You Much, and oh my God, that boy would be grooving with all the gay boys, the drag queens, and the prostitutes in some bar, listening to And the Velvet Rope.
Right. Well, you know what I don't want to call it insidious, because I still identify as a Christian heavy. There's some changes. There's some things that have altered over time. Obviously,
It's evolved.
Evolved. Yeah. I'm a Black queer artist myself, so I think for me, once I started to really dive into the history of music and listen to folks' interviews and things like that, you mentioned the Winans brothers, and you got the Clark sisters and folks like that. Gospel music, especially Black gospel music, has always been influenced by pop music at the time. So if you listen to gospel artists right now, like, there's some folks that say that this sounds like a Sierra record. It's like it's always mimicked whatever's going on music at the time. So, I know, who was it? I know when Ray Charles first came out, they called his music, kind of devilish, because it mimicked blues, that kind of thing. But you had gospel artists that were mimicking the same
thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just putting God as the neck. So I believe just music to be a universal language. It's supposed to be able to grab anyone from whatever background, whatever, cultural thing you got going on, whatever religious thing you got going on. We should all be able to come together with it. So
absolutely. It's quite, I loved BB and CC Winans. It was just like the album, I can't remember what it's called now. I think it was called Heaven or something like that. But I still sing that song Heaven in a set with a Janet Jackson track, like an ABBA track, and it doesn't think no one's ever said, was that like Christian gospel? No one's ever said that. Right. It's that real kind of 80s, 90s kind of pop, synthesized kind of great beat, Tevin Campbell, all that kind of stuff that was going on at the time. It was, like you said, it was identical. It's just the lyrics were about the Bible, Christianity, that whole kind of path. So, but if you wasn't that, no one has ever. I seen Amy Grant, I was completely in love with before. I didn't know whether I wanted to be her or marry her. Like, I had major issues in my Christianity, but I loved Amy Grant, and she sang a song called "Arms of Love," which really, when I was going through my, suicidal tendencies because I masturbated once in 7 years. Do you know what I mean? That kind of shit. Yeah. Amy Grant was kind of like, listen to the song "Arms of Love," like, no matter, if you're sinking in sinking sand or what storms you're going through, you're still in his arms of love. And that was a saving song for me. I don't mean in a Christian sense, I mean in a life sense. And I still sing that in my shows now. Like, if it's like a quiet night and I'm doing kind of major acoustic or piano stuff, then, I'll sing, and it's still, the energy behind that song still gets me, irrespective of my spiritual or religious beliefs or paths anymore, because it was the magic, it was the energy, it was the love, it was the soul, it was the creation, the God that was put into the creation of that song for a reason, you know, and that is still, it's timeless, it's ageless, you know, and it still works. But
And it's a universal message that doesn't
completely,
necessarily apply just if you identify as a Christian or not. That's what's really good, cool about, I think. And that's the God that I recognize in my, walk of faith now, is the one who, you know, is widely accepting. There is no, you good boys or good girls club,
yeah,
right? That kind of thing. That, like, all of that was the facade. The God that I read about, spend time with prostitutes and thieves and things on the street, and I feel like there's a reason behind it. There's a message behind that.
yeah, yeah. And that religion is the same old argument and problem since man decided to make it how they wanted it, right? The
That's right.
essence of God is within us all, and there can't
That's
be
right.
discriminations, there can't be hatred, there can't be anything, because it is a philosophy of love, no matter how it's been tinkered and tailored over the years to suit specific countries, religious groups, cult,
James.
kings and queens. You
Yeah,
know, it's kind of, it's all been altered, but the message is love. And when you're doing something that's creative, whether it's dancing or bloody macrame or writing and singing, when you're in that zone, when you're in that creative zone, that is God for me. That is,
that's
it's
right.
everything that is. It's beautiful. How did your family react when you kind of started coming out doing kind of more secular based stuff?
So initially, so to kind of go back a little bit, there's obviously, I can't tell the whole story in detail, but there's been a lot. I'm almost 40 years old, so there's been a
Oh,
lot of musical, you know.
I thought it was in your 20s.
Thank you. I keep myself up. My father, they used to call him Babyface because he always called
Really?
it. I feel maybe I've gotten some good genes from him, but um, so in college, I did form a band based off. So again, this is a performance arts college. So, your curriculum consists of, if you're a musician, being in ensembles, and it's not like traditional, choral kind of things. They do have that, but ensembles can be pop rock ensemble, R&B ensemble, classical ensemble. So they have these genre specific groups that you audition for, and they will place you in based off. So the first ensemble that I went into was the blues ensemble that was taught by Professor Fernando Jones, who is a working musician. He has a blues camp that I believe is not just local, but I think they do stuff in the UK as well.
Okay.
Where they bring kids together and teach them traditional blues, and then at the
Nice,
end
mate.
do a big kind of performance in that genre. So from that ensemble, I got together with some of the guys and girls there, and we created our own blues band. Um, in that time, my mom really kind of jumped on board on my musical journey back
Oh,
in that.
great.
It's because I was doing music that she, identified with
It
from
was
her.
her vibe, yeah.
So she was coming out to the
You
shows and
can't
really.
do Britney, but you can do blues. That's it.
Yeah, I hadn't dove into that kind, but that comes a little bit later. But yeah, at that point, I was doing like blues, and she really supported that. So at that period, that's when she came on board. I've always done gospel, so my dad supported that. I think the first thing he came out to, he didn't like when I was in blues. It was really a funny kind of conflict in the household where you got the mom who's rooting and coming out to all the shows for the blues stuff. And then
Mm.
my dad was just kind of like, this
Right,
music is,
praying for intercession.
I used to say that all the time, like, this music is so depressing. How can you do this music? And then my mom would be like, no, it's not. You got this kind of song and it brings you up and it makes you happy. Plus, it's the sound of the South. And
Yeah.
both of my parents are from the South. My dad was from Mississippi, born and raised, and my mom, like I said, from Forest City, Arkansas. So, um, funny conflict there. But when I did my senior recital, my dad finally came out, dressed in his I'll never forget, it was like a blue kind of pinstripe. So he looked the part of a blues person. And I
Really?
don't think I've ever seen him like that.
Trilby hat or something like
He
that.
had that
Really?
blue hat on and
Amazing.
that's the suit. I'm like, where did you get this outfit from?
Bless you, man.
So he played the part, but he
It's
came
really
out and he finally saw me perform. For my recital, I did a plethora of genres, R&B, pop. I covered some Beatles in there because it's supposed to cover like your journey while you were at the college. So at the time, I did blues, of course, R&B ensemble, but I also did the pop rock ensemble, jazz, group ensemble. So learned a lot of really cool songs in that pop rock. Um, Steely Dan, just songs like that, Beatles, stuff that really hadn't been played in my household. So
yeah.
it was brand new music for me. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I incorporated that into my recital, and it was really great.
And what was the feedback from the fam afterwards?
Oh, they appreciated it.
Yeah.
My mom, of course, always loved it, but I was just really happy to show my father that, and he ended up passing away about a year and a half after I graduated
Bless you, mate.
college. So I was happy that he got a chance to, kind of see me in my full element
Nice.
for leaving.
Yeah, my father died literally. He died on my birthday, which was 3 days before my very first show ever. So he had, if funny enough, right, the only thing he ever heard me sing was I had a tape, because like I said, I'm ancient. So I had this this kind of little cassette with a backing track, and I sung "It's Okay" by the Winans, by BB and CC Winans. And he
Oh,
used to play that to the nurses where he was. That's the only thing he ever heard me sing. I've been singing for 34 years now, but he
oh,
wasn't into the church, so he never ever kind of experienced any of that side of stuff.
okay.
But yeah, he had one little demo of like "It's Okay" by BB and CC Winan, and he was playing that to the nurses, going, "This is my boy, this is my boy." But he died literally just before I ever did my very first gig in my first pop band. As I was kind of doing the whole record deal stuff and that. It was so yeah. It's really important that they. I mean, now that boy's probably fed up with me singing because obviously. It's like, rah, man, give it a break. I escaped 31 years ago and you're still going on.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it was an experience for sure.
Yeah. My dad was an amazing, he was dyslexic, so couldn't spell or write for anything in the world, but could pick up an instrument like a guitar or a bass or play it like without a lesson. Like that boy was on it, and had the most beautiful voice. Like he died actually. The weird thing is he died at 49 years old. So already I'm way past his age, but he was still my old man. Do you know what I mean? But he had a beautiful voice, and yeah, so he kind of. I wish it would have been nice for him to be part of it. Now I would love to have got in the studio with him and done a duet, like some
Yeah,
old Cliff Richard or Elvis stuff or something like that. Would have been really really cool.
yeah.
But yeah, so I understand. I'm so pleased that your dad got to see that talent that had his DNA running all the way through it.
Oh, yeah.
So could your dad sing? I mean, he was a preacher, a pastor, but could he actually sing as well?
He could. He used to sing around. He loved country music outside of gospel, which was the primary, but he loved country music for some strange reason. I mean, I like country as well now, but I didn't understand it back then.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I get that.
But part of the element of, especially like in black churches, in black preachers, is that they kind of, when they preach, they have a cadence where towards the end of the sermon, they kind of go into this kind of singing kind of delivery in the message. So, it'd be like, oh Lord, I think, like
Yeah,
they'll start adding melody.
everyone's hands are in the air. Like, yeah,
So he fell into that, and that's, I guess, about as close as he got to public singing. But he used to sing around the house all the time, like the actual songs. But yeah, there's a cadence with a lot of the old school Baptist black preachers where you almost had to know at least how to stay in the melody and in key.
yeah. At least
So
carry a tune in a bucket. You had to do, just you didn't want your congregation fleeing at the point you opened your mouth. So
it's
yeah,
just all a part of the performative, the
that's good.
performance of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, mate. So when did Lester J become Lester J? I mean, obviously you're working on your craft, you're showcasing your kind of embryonic stage in kind of your craft. When did Lester J become Lester J?
Yeah, I feel like it was refining itself in high school and college, especially in high school with the songwriting. Um, the songs would go on mixtapes for the labels, so I never had any songs myself, but they were always associated with these kind of collaborative mixtapes with all the artists. And then in college, of course, taking songwriting classes and just kind of really understanding this thing that's going on, like it had already been there, but just kind of putting language to what these things are. I started writing um, my first album my last year of college, and it took years to do. I didn't release it until 2013.
Oh, okay,
Graduated in 2009. So I would have started writing in 2008, but it was a 17 track album
nice,
of songs that finally came out, and it was heavily pop. It's called The Freedom Project. It's out there in streams right now. Um, I got together with this producer, Fari Laverick, who is from the UK.
he's obviously amazing. Then bless him.
Yeah, but really hip hop influence. But it's like hip hop and pop to get fused together, and he pretty much produced most of that project. I worked with a few local producers and hip hop artists and singers as well. But I feel like that project really kind of defined the Lester J sound. It's a fusion of pop, hip hop, and R&B with a gospel delivery.
Nice.
Uh, Gospel and pop delivery, I would say. And that's really what started that. From that particular project, I started getting attention from house producers locally and internationally. And from there, and even to this day, just kind of started collaborating on house music. So Love Like Mine is one of many projects that exemplifies that growth. That's produced with a producer from Colorado, Craig C. And I've never met the guy, but he heard me and through a previous project that I did with a local house producer here, and he reached out to that producer and said, "Hey, is it okay if I tap Lester on the shoulder to collaborate?" And we've done a plethora of songs since then. It was
Wow,
actually during
that's lovely.
COVID. It was during COVID when he reached out. So yeah, we've had a good working relationship ever since. He is a queer DJ in Colorado, so um, a lot of really great work. We've got a queer anthem that's coming out hopefully soon this summer that I recorded with him last winter in the fourth quarter of last year.
Sweet, mate. So it's going really well. So things are really starting to I mean, you've never stopped, but things are really taking shape, and it's nice when you're getting approached by different people all the time to do your.
Yeah, COVID was really interesting. I think a lot of folks were forced to be inside, so you had to find creative ways to entertain yourself
Absolutely. The
that point.
Jaden show.
Is that when the dating show
Yeah,
kind of?
I was living in the jungle in Mexico, and
Mhm.
obviously I was in not confinement, aislado. What's like when we were like in isolation. So
Mhm.
yeah, I was in isolation because couldn't go out and speak to people, and I just really miss talking in English. My Spanish is crap, but I really missed in English to people, just chit chatting, and I was seeing no one. So I just hit up all my friends that I knew were in the industry, singers, backing singers, dancers, model, blah blah blah. And she said, "Look, if I put together a chat show, would you be part of it?" And everyone said yes. I was kind of thinking, and people were like, "Nah, Jaden, mate, I ain't got time." But because everyone was piss bored, it's like, "Yeah, I'll do that, man. That's like an hour out on my day, this week, this month, this eternity that is COVID." So I started doing it, and now I'm 4 years on, and nearly 200 shows. So it's been really cool. And now actually it's quite nice. You know, my whole thing was, you know, I'm an artist. I've been an artist since I was young. You know, I started doing church ministry, and then I kind of, you know, became like a little mini pop star in the UK. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, and I've always, apart from a couple of nervous breakdowns and kind of, you know, like breaks in music, I've kind of pretty much always done it. And I couldn't do anything now. And I'm in a country where I don't really know many people. It's not my language, it's not my culture, it's not my climate. And I still need to entertain somehow. So what do I do? So it was nice to kind of, it started, I really like to celebrate success, even if it's not mine. I really love being around passionate, creative, artistic people because it inspires me and it gives me ideas. And also it's just nice to make friends. You know, that's another thing. Yeah. And so it was just, I just wanted to, no one ever really gave me a hand when I was younger. There was no internet, you see. So you couldn't do internet interviews and promotions and stuff like that. So, and I just thought, you know, there's lots of amazing artists out there that aren't getting any exposure. So I just want to chat to people, and I want to explore. I mean, I might get, you know, my next door neighbor, my mum, and a border collie watching my show, but you know, that's kind of three more people than that would never have heard their name if, you know, in the beginning. And I just wanted to just kind of big up people that are still living their art, mate, and being their authentic self. So that's how it came about.
I'm going to date myself a little bit now, based off of what you just mentioned. It reminded me, talking about the power of the internet, right? I was in my last year of college when I started getting on MySpace.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Facebook, I don't know if you saw the Facebook movie. It initially started as a social network just between college, you know, students.
It was kind of schoolmates, and I remember that. Yeah,
I was a part of that wave. So the first Facebook wave, but MySpace, my first international collaboration came from MySpace. I had like my original music on my MySpace page, and I had a artist, Duke Sheltick, I believe. He's an Irish rapper who reached out to me and wanted to collaborate. He has an album out now. Like I said, he's an Irish rapper. And we did a song called Beautiful Life that's on there. Never met the guy. Don't know if I ever will in life, but my guy, I think he was touring in Ireland, like he was a big deal in, you know, in where he came from. But just to be able to be on an album.
Right, what a buzz. Amazing.
Yeah, that happened my last year of college.
And that's across the planet, mate.
Yeah, just from MySpace.
I loved MySpace. I missed MySpace. That was my favorite time. There was some amazing. That was where I first started as well, MySpace. And there were some amazing people, and everyone was supportive, and everyone was sharing, everyone was following, and everyone was loving, and everyone was commenting. Now you almost have to sell a kidney to get someone to hit on subscribe.
That's right.
Even your friends and family. Like, how fucking difficult is it to go?
Yeah. Like, I think I appreciate it though, because I remember the humble beginnings of it.
Well, when I was doing my first singles and stuff like that, it was the big ass reel-to-reel recording studios with technicians in there with scissors and scotch tape, and that was how you made a single.
Oh man!
And then we went from there to kind of like, I don't know if we went from there to DAT. And then from that to mini disc, and then mini disc to like digital and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of old school, mate. These big ass reels of tape, and guys, no, we don't like that. But we'll slice this, we'll stick this with a bit of tape. Okay. Oh no, you need to do it again, so cut it again. It was like that was when I first started, mate. Because I'm like,
what an expensive venture to have to record.
Well, I was talking to a guest on my last week's show, Junior. And he was saying when you went into the studio, if you got out in 24 hours, you were kind of lucky, really.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't like going, put down a vocal, go for a cup of tea, go for Starbucks, or a latte, and then go back, I don't like that bit. Let's just redo that bit. Go, crop, paste, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't like a double track, like there was none of that. It was literally, we've got to do this again, man. And you've got to do a fresh vocal after being in that tiny little recording studio for 18 hours.
My
you know,
Lord.
and you got to like, oh my God, it was like nothing you can imagine. It was grueling, but
Yeah.
you were bloody lucky, mate. If you even got yourself to a stage where you could get into a recording studio, you were blessed.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
now everyone's a star in their own living room, and on one way that's amazing because it means the world is open to supporting so many amazing artists that would never have got a deal because they didn't look the part or they didn't sound the part or
Didn't have the
whatever
budget.
reason they didn't fit into Simon Cowell's narrative, and
Right.
so now people can, but at the same time we've become a little bit kind of we've lost our support and love and encouragement of others. So like I said, for someone to subscribe to someone's channel, I released a reggaeton single 2-3 years ago with a black rapper singer called Black Sicano. He's a he's like Dembo, reggaeton, all this kind of stuff. Everything that comes out of that boy stable is gold, mate. He's a brilliant artist. And so we're like, okay, we're going to do like reggaeton with a bit of dembo and a bit of pop. You're going to write like all the English stuff. I'll do all the rapping in Spanish, and we'll kind of do that. The video will be shot because I lived on the Caribbean side of Mexico, so it was shot in my garden, in my friend's cafe, and on the beach. It was beautiful. Like the video was gorgeous. And it was like, and that was really, really good. It was wonderful to do that. And I would never have been able to do that back in the day because you even put, until like Tony Braxton and stuff like that, you even put a saxophone into a pop track, and that's now literally going to be shelved. Like you don't move away from the structure of what you're doing. It was a different world then, whereas now you can play with your sound, you can play with other artists, and it's amazing. However, what people don't realize is like the song was amazing. It was a really lovely summer song, a really great song. I'll send you it on a link later. But the video was great. It was a really classy done video. I say Black Sicano Ivan is an amazing artist, and there were 4 different record companies interested. One record company was like, "It's great, but we don't like the hi-hat. Change the hi-hat and send it to us." Like, no, you want it? You change the hi-hat. Like, you're the record company, mate. And then someone else was like, "We love it." In Spain, that was the hi-hat, I think, was a Spanish record company, and one of the ones in the States was like, "We love it, but you don't have enough YouTube subscribers."
What?
Yeah.
And you think yourself like, is that a you problem? That's not a.
Well, do you know what? No, even back in the day, I've been in Mexico for 9 years now, and even before I left, when I was doing my my stuff in England, the record company that I were friends, they were my old record label, and I still stay friends with one of the managers there. She's a really good woman, and she said, "Jaden, what you need to do is you need to do a shout out on Twitter." And saying, right, I want all my Twitter supporters to come and see me at this venue on Saturday, and you need to wear a purple t-shirt. Like, come on, I want all my Twitter followers to wear a purple t-shirt, because an A&R guy will come and look at how many purple t-shirts are in that hall, in that venue, and if you don't have enough, you won't have your deal. It's not about your talent, your music. It's about your social media pull. And I was singing classical back in the day, so like Josh Groban, that kind of stuff. And I released a single called To Where You Are, and really, really lovely. But I made a video. It didn't get many hits, and I was like, oh, maybe it just wasn't that good. And then I saw another guy. This guy covered it, and he has something nearly 2 million hits, and I was like, that it must sound amazing. So I clicked on his YouTube. He was fucking stunning. Topless, 6-packed, could not carry a note in a bloody handbag, mate. But because he was beautiful looking,
His aesthetic is what it is.
and he was singing that song, he had nearly 2 million hits. I had 182.
Yeah.
They
were listening like this.
I mean, I was in that video, but at the same time, but it was like, it just kind of shows that it's not about, like, even when I started the Jaden show, people said, keep it 15 minutes, keep it 15 minutes. I'm like, do you know what? No, I'm saying no to you and now, because I'm not doing it for likes. I'm not doing it for comments. I'm not doing it for shares. I'm not doing it to fit into your TikTok mold. I mean, I've got my TikTok and I'll do my TikTok on TikTok.
Right.
But this is where, how can you get to know someone? How can you feel someone? How can you appreciate someone's talent and passion in 15 seconds? You can't, mate. No one
Yeah.
realizes the work, the effort, the training, the studying, the family dynamics that goes into becoming Lester J, Jaden Cornelius, Junior Giscombe, whoever. You
Yeah.
know, no one realizes, and you can't tell that story. And that story is the most important part of that artist today, because
Yeah.
it's everything that feeds the songs, that feeds the music, feeds the vibe, feeds everything. So I was like, nah, I'm doing. If my interviews last 15 minutes, cool, and maybe I'll get more viewers on that one. But if my interview, like last week, lasts 2.5 hours, absolutely bloody cool, because I want to know every square millimeter of Junior, because that boy has sung with Aretha, Randy. He picked up Stevie Wonder when he fell off of a bleeding drumming stool in a studio. Do you know what I mean? Like, the boy still mates with Stevie. Like, the
Wow.
stories you don't want to miss. I didn't want to miss 1 millimeter of that story,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think the whole thing is always about being your authentic self, just being you and not succumbing to the needs of subscribers and followers, and, people that love you will love you, right?
Absolutely. And at the risk of sounding or dating myself, I you said at the beginning, it's these pesky kids with the short attention span.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, I get a bit addicted to TikTok. I'll be like, why do they say that you only got like a 15-second attention span? Because I've now been watching random stupid TikTok videos now for 2.5 hours.
I think the science behind it is getting as much content, varied content in the
Absolutely.
short amount of time. So
Absolutely.
it's not about 2 hours that you have or 3 hours to waste a day. It's about, how much information can you
Yeah.
cram in versus spending on one artist or two, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, completely, completely, mate. What does the future hold for Lester J? What's going on with you, man? What are you doing?
So I'm still recording, and I've got a single out now. The song's called Visions. It's a R&B. So this project I'm working on now is very R&B. It's still pop. So here's the thing would be going back to like the house music. The house music, when I started getting into that, was really the outlet for me to write what I saw as pop through house music. So it's really a cool outlet. Is this a element that I never want to, leave, because it's always that's my guilty pleasure that I never want to let go. But this particular project that I'm working on now, called The Lost Files, it's not worked on, it's done. It's a collection of songs that never got released, didn't make the album because, like I said, the first album was very poppy. So this particular project has a lot of like R&B stuff and hip hop lay stuff always, and it's called The Lost Files. That's be coming out next month in March on my dad's birthday,
Wow. So when's his birthday?
the 24th.
Okay, I'm a March boy as well. That's really lovely. Amazing, mate. That is really, really cool. And what is the long-term future? I mean, like, you're obviously going to be continuing. I don't think you could ever stop anyway, but obviously you're going to be continuing doing what you're doing. But what are your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals for the
Yep.
for the future?
So last year I began working with a band of friends of mine that, throughout the last 15 years that I've been singing, excuse me, professionally, um, finally put my own like band together. So uh, what I would ideally like to do in this year is get some original music recorded with them. Several of them produce on the side, so I'm working with them individually on works for another project, not the Lost Files project. That one is done, but like a brand new kind of thing. And I'm excited for it. We're in a different place in music now, especially with contemporary R&B and urban music, where it's more like vibey kind of a thing. People are more concerned about like how you feel. So I'm excited to kind of dive into that. There's a song that I actually wrote during COVID that's out, um, that I have a music video out there for, and it follows that whole idea of just kind of like how does the song make you feel versus, and I feel like that's always been a part of songwriting. It's just now with these kids now, I think they just have a hyper focus on the vibe of the
Yeah.
song. So I'm just really excited to, and these guys are like they're in their 20s and early 30s. So I'm working with, some younger guys
These
and
pesky kids.
these pesky kids. But they come every generation. One thing I love about just I'll never consider myself a conservative because that whole concept of conservatism is like staying in one place. And, things evolve all the time.
Absolutely.
And I never want to be in a place. I think there's an artist out there, Pay LaBelle, right? I don't know if you're familiar with her. Pay LaBelle, she did
Patti LaBelle. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
with her group back in the day. I stand Patti LaBelle. That was one person I started kind of studying in high school. But one thing about her as a person, as an artist, she always dives into what's going on in the current, in the now. She's over 80 years old right now. She's still up here singing and performing, and on the social medias, and doing content with, like, she did content with Cardi B, I think, during COVID. She had an intrigue for her, so that's the kind of person I see myself being forever, just always curious, always learning, always being expansive and open to the here and now and what's going on. So I'm excited to, be working with these young cats that are in this band, who, again, another thing is that they become resourceful. Like, as time goes on, these young guys, they're able to play their instruments and produce. And like my drummer, he sings as well. So I didn't know this until like halfway last year when I was working with them. And I said, in our next show, I want a mic for my drummer. I want a mic. Any one of you guys that can sing, you guys are going to harmony. If you want to do multiple things, we're going to start doing multiple things.
Nice,
I want to utilize all that talent and absorb it, and hopefully they get something from me too. And that's just kind of, I see myself as the Renaissance Pay LaBelle, like always looking for the new thing.
Amazing. Well, I wish you untold amount of luck, success, love, everything you need to carry on what you're doing, mate, because you're a superstar. So I think that's really amazing. Lester J, I thank you for your time and being part of the Jaden show. People at home, you've met him, you obviously love him, and you're definitely going to want to check him out. Before you finish your cheese on toast and your cup of tea, make sure you have gone and followed him on all of his social media platforms, and you can go and check out all his music on all major download and streaming platforms too, and definitely go to his .com site as well. You won't be disappointed. Lester, you are bloody lovely. Thank you so much for being part of my show.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you soon, buddy. Take care. What a superb guy, and what an amazing talent. Lester, thank you so much for being part of the Jaden show. You lovely people at home, also thank you so much for watching and joining me. It's been a pleasure to be in your inner sanctum this Sunday with Mr. J. How cool. I'm already excited about joining you again next Sunday with another wonderful guest on the Jaden show. I'm not going to leave you empty with that just sparseness to carry on your week. We do need another Lester J song, and in a minute I'm going to play you High Heavens by Lester J, another wonderful track and definitely needed to end today's show on. In the meantime, please make sure you have subscribed to this show. Please make sure you've liked, you've commented, that you're definitely going to share it with all your friends on all of your social media platforms. Come and join me on my social media platforms as well. Make sure that you are following Lester J on all of the social media platforms you saw running along this interview and on the title page of this episode as well. Go and show that brother some love and support, and I will see you next Sunday. I'm leaving you with Lester J, High Heavens. Take care, stay beautiful, ta-ra.
All right, let's make some noise for Lester J and Ches Butter.
How y'all doing tonight? Baby, when the lights aren't clear, just tell me you'll be there. Oh, we've been through this thing before, and I never thought that I could be so sure. Even in this moment of humility, there's no doubt that I know you'll be there for me. I know when I go to bed to sleep at night, I'll look over and you'll be there right by my side. Even in this moment of humility, there's no doubt that I know you'll be there for me. And all I ask is that you love me. Put your hands together. And all I ask is that you love me. Even when I make mistakes, I'm not perfect, but we'll make it through the day. Just to see that smile land upon your face, I'm willing to endure whatever it takes. I know when I go to bed to sleep at night, I'll look over and you'll be there right by my side. Even in this moment of humility, there's no doubt that I know you'll be there for me. And all I ask is that you love me. Say all I ask is that you love me. Say, you make me appreciate the things that only you and I can see. Hey, I'm encouraged to step it out and forget about the world as it tries to tear me down. You being there, showing you care, support me in all. Yeah. Say all I ask is that you love me. All I ask is you love me, baby. Thank you. My name is Lester J. This is Chaz Brother. You just heard.